Okay, folks, today's sponsor of WTF is Audible. Please visit audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod for a free audiobook download. Do it.
Lock the gate!
Are we doing this? Really? Wait for it. Are we doing this? Wait for it. Pow! What the fuck?
WTF.
And it's also, what the fuck? What's wrong with me? It's time for WTF. What the fuck?
With Marc Maron.
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers? What the fuck buddies? What the fucking ears? What the fuck nicks? What the fucking knots? What the fucking Thanksgiving is over. It's over. I'm out. How are you? This is Marc Maron. This is WTF. I am back at the Cat Ranch in Highland Park. First off, on the show today, comedy's golden boy, Aziz Ansari, in the garage. We're going to talk to Aziz. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with, so let's see if we can have a nice conversation. Looking forward to that. Oh, how about a little of this, a little post-Thanksgiving. Pow! I just shit my pants. I did. That's a sign of the end of Thanksgiving. JustCoffee.coop, available at WTFpod.com or at JustCoffee.coop. I'd like to thank Katie from Cat Fancy Magazine, a fan who sent me a shirt that says, "Not your average cat lady." I thought it would be a cute shirt to wear. I didn't know it would be a woman's shirt. Should have figured that out. Not sure whether or not I'm going to be able to wear it. It's unclear to me. But I do appreciate the gesture. I wanted the shirt, and now I got the shirt. So let's get to it, folks. How was your Thanksgiving? Mine fine. Thank you for asking. Enough said. Right. Enough said. My Thanksgiving was interesting as usual. It was very, very well paced. Went down there with good intentions. Didn't lose my shit. Brought Jessica down to meet the chaos, to meet the core, the vortex, the spiraling, ungrounded, emotional fiesta that is my family. I mean, it's not as daunting as you might think. I went down there, I went to my mother's house in Hollywood, Florida. As some of you know, I've grown to enjoy Florida. It seems like a fine place to go at the end of your life or at the end of your rope or when you're ready to throw it all in. All the chips are on the table. This is what I got. What do you got? Very interesting place. But, okay, Thanksgiving went as follows. I did my thing. I went food shopping. I cooked for like 22 people. Got the turkey going, got the sweet potatoes going, got the mashed potatoes going, got the stuffing, the special stuffing going. Got everything going, timed it out perfectly, no panic whatsoever, no drama, very little drama. Actually made a little time to actually connect with some of my family. Talk to the kids, my little nephews, and they're not nephews, are they? What are they, second cousins? My cousin's kids? Are they second cousins once removed or second cousins or my cousin's kids? I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call them. Made a little time for everyone. It was very pleasant. I'm sad to say I have no real reportage here. Nothing went that awry. My mother's boyfriend was irritating and annoying, but he's a very pleasant guy. My mother was not annoying. I think it was because I left right at that point. You know, the point where you're like, I'm about to tip. I'm about to regress and fight the fight that I've fought my entire life against this woman, and I'm about to engage again. And I decided, don't do that. Fight with your girlfriend instead. That's a good idea. Jess and I were doing fine 2 or 3 days. Then something went wrong. I misunderstood something. Something was said casually. That ended up in a fairly long, dramatic fight where we both ended up outside trying to talk her down. It was very exciting. We've got bug bite scars to show. It's interesting when you're actually in a fight in Florida outdoors where you have to say, look, can we take the crying and yelling inside because I'm getting bitten up? Are you getting bitten up? I mean, can't we just take it inside? But it was fine. Everything was good. But as I said, here's the normal things happen. We make this amazing dinner, and immediately after dinner, my mother starts throwing things away. Throwing full, tubs of gravy, pieces of turkey, stuffing in the garbage. I'm like, whoa, hold up. We're going to be here another day. We might want to eat this. All right, so we salvaged some of that. Oh, one of the key moments of inappropriateness came. My mother's boyfriend, John, had hired a couple of, I believe they were Colombian, a man and a woman to clean up as dinner went along and to serve some drinks. Fine. So we're cleaning up. They're cleaning up. Dinner's over. My mother picks up this turkey carcass. There was nothing left, no meat on it or anything, and turns to the woman who I believe is Colombian, and says, "Do you want to take this home?" The woman, of course, looked confused. My mother said, "For soup. You make the soup with it." Now, I think it was a little bit of racial insensitivity. Apparently, my mother had some experience with a woman who took a turkey carcass home to make soup with, but I found it to be, just short of saying, "Don't you people use these things?" There was a standard Jewish parade at the Thanksgiving. I can't say that after a certain point it got a little I got a little exhausted. I wanted to relax. I did go into the ocean. We took a walk on the boardwalk in Hollywood with the many Germans and French Canadians that seemed to come there. We picked up some shells because you have to pick up shells. We looked at the shells. I don't know. Does somebody come along in the morning and get all the good shells? Are there such a thing as good shells anymore? You see shells in the gift shops, and you wonder, is there a special farm for good shells? Because we were there, and we thoroughly went through the sand, and not one complete whole shell that I could listen to or say, this is fucking amazing. You settle for cute shells and pieces of glass. You sort through the garbage, Portuguese men of war, whatever. But someone's taking the good shells. I want to know who the fuck it is. If I go to Florida, there's no reason I can't get a nice shell. One nice shell. You find one nice shell, maybe two nice shells in a lifetime. Then you hold on to it. You're like, I found this when I was 7. That was the last time I saw a fucking good shell. Everything has changed. The shells are going away. You never hear that. What's happening to the good shells? Who's stealing the shells? Is it because the ocean is dying and no little shell creature is living that long? I don't fucking know, but I get very disappointed. I get frustrated, and then I start thinking, you know what? It's a ripoff. Because someone came before us and took all the fucking good shells, and that's bullshit. It's unfair. I'm copping a resentment towards this mythological shell-stealing fuck that I've made up in my head that gets there and ruins the fun for children of all ages, myself included, to find one good shell. Not one. I did go in the water, and I was able to stay in for probably 8 or 9 minutes before panic set in, and I saw another mythological creature, the shark just beneath the surface. That you don't see the dorsal fin, but it's lurking there. That in my mind, I go into the ocean, just 10 feet away, there are sea monsters. I mean, large beasts, things you only saw pictures of. The things that you see, like the serpent wrapped around the boat before people knew that wasn't possible. Who are those, though? I still don't know it's not possible that there's something that size lurking there. I can't go into a fucking pool at night. That's how I am. Jaws fucked me up. All right, so the morning after Thanksgiving, then the real throwing away festival begins. We barely got a meal in before my mother started throwing everything in the garbage disposal. Everything goes right down the garbage disposal. And then I tweeted that because I'm an idiot. And then people were saying, well, what about homeless people? What, are you going to show up with homeless people, seeing if they'll make soup out of a fucking picked over turkey carcass? You're going to show up at a homeless shelter with a Tupperware container half filled with gravy that's 3 days old? I don't think they're going to take that. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I had a nice time. I think if I would have stayed longer, there would have been a little more drama. But most of the 3 days we're there were spent cooking. Were spent with my mother preemptively saying, like, do you have everything? Like, expecting something to happen. And then with her boyfriend, completely obsessed over whether or not he made the right decision with the refrigerator that he was going to buy for cheap. Insisting, it's like he thought it was a good deal, and then maybe it's not a good deal, and then got him on Consumer Reports, and over again with that. We got the wrong refrigerator, we're fucked. I don't know if it's a Jewish thing, but as soon as you make a shopping decision, as soon as you decide to buy something, within seconds, before you even actually purchase it, you're like, I got the shit one. It's the same with the shells. Someone's taking all the good refrigerators and all the good shells. And I don't even know if they have refrigerator boxes anymore for people to live in if that's necessary. Shells, refrigerator boxes, refrigerators. Something's going on. Something is going on. But I was grateful. I am getting to an age where I'm just happy that these people are alive. I got to see my family. I'm grateful that they're still alive. And, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to go back and at least for 3 days believe in my mind that I'm not going to be like that. That's what Thanksgiving's for, is for you to lie to yourself, for long enough. I think this is the way it usually happens. You go and you're like, I'm never going to be like these people. I've got a few of their traits. I have some similarities, but I'm not going to be this bad. And then ultimately what happens is that they pass on and then you lose track for the 5 or 10 years, and then you're like them, but you no longer have a point of reference, so you don't really know it. You just sit around going, "Thank God I didn't end up like them." Am I right? You're not going to eat this, right? Let's just throw it down the disposal. What the hell kind of refrigerator is this? Why did I buy this? But see, your point of references are gone because you can't go visit them anymore. And then it goes on and on like that. Generation after generation after generation. People unhappy with refrigerators, unable to find shelves. As you know, this edition of WTF is brought to you by Audible.com. And if you go to audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod, you can get a free download, a free audiobook download. Now, I want it to be understood because I from what I hear, it's not completely understood, but this promotion is only available to U.S. and Canada customers only. And it's only for new subscribers. You can't just keep going back and getting a free audiobook. I mean, that would defeat the purpose. So if you go to audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod, you will get a free audiobook download, but only if you're a U.S. or Canadian customer and only if it's your first time. Now let's get to the facts. Audible.com. Audible.com has over 75,000 titles. We're talking about Thanksgiving. Just throw that into the old search bar and look at what you get. Thanksgiving at Home, Adventures in Odyssey. No idea what that is. How about the Thanksgiving Day Murder? Why not? Or maybe as I move down, what do I see at the bottom of the page? Audible Proops, Post-Thanksgiving Hangover Edition. That's Greggy Proops. You can get that at audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod for free if you're a first-time subscriber and you live in the United States or Canada. But let's go the other route. Let's do another search. Let's search Howard Zinn. Yeah. Let's do that. We'll search Howard Zinn, and we hit go. All right, A People's History of the United States. There you go. It's by Howard Zinn, narrated by Jeff Zinn, who I assume is a relative. Also, we have one here narrated by Matt Damon and Howard Zinn. How do you like that? So you can go for the cutesy Thanksgiving that I think skirts the issues a little bit, or you can get right to the heart of the matter and figure out what we took and why we're bad. Either way, you go to audiblepodcast.com/WTFpod. You get a free audiobook download if you're a first-time subscriber. And this offer is only available to those of you who live in the U.S. or in Canada. And I apologize to my European fans. I had nothing to do with this. This is the way it goes. Do you put stuff on a hard drive, though?
No, I just use a time machine.
So you don't, oh yeah, see, like a lot of times I'll put, like, depending on how freaked out I am, I'll put it on two separate different hard drives. You can stick those cans on and move that thing to your face.
Check.
1, 2, Aziz Ansari in the garage here at the Cat Ranch with computer problems. So what'd you lose?
Wait, real quick, is it really, did you say Cat Ranch? I'm allergic to cats.
They're not in here.
Okay, good.
You should be okay. They're in my house.
If a cat wanders in, I'll be dead in like a minute.
Oh, that bad?
No. I don't think that exists. That would be a horrible thing. Like, the chances of running into a cat are so high. You'd be dead very quickly.
Well, people with those nut allergies, man, they can go down. Like people with almond allergies or peanut allergies, their throats swell up. It's fucking awful.
Oh, my God.
That's why you see all those panicky labels of, like, we don't know if there was peanuts involved here. Have you ever seen those? Like, this was made in an area where there may be peanuts.
A peanut may have been hanging out here a few years back before we opened up the spot.
So we're not responsible. We're warning you. There may have been peanuts here. So you have cat allergies, man.
Yeah.
Is that the only one?
It's cats and hazelnuts.
No.
Hazelnuts. Yeah.
Are you serious? So you've got a nut one?
Yeah, just hazelnuts though. Like I'll eat almonds and all that stuff, but and even that, it's like it's not even like a big allergy. It's like if I eat like Nutella, like I have like the sniffles for the rest of the day. It's like really not a huge deal.
It's not like life threatening.
Yeah. So if I was like really into hazelnuts, I could still have it and just pay the price a little bit.
Well, thank God.
It's not like one of those. He had a grape and he died.
Oh yeah.
Type situations.
Hazelnuts, though, of all fucking things. I don't even know I'm not even sure I don't know if I've eaten a hazelnut. That's Nutella?
Hazelnuts and Nutella and certain desserts.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not going to happen.
Coffees, hazelnut flavor.
Oh yeah, hazelnut flavor coffees.
Yeah.
Wow, see, these are some facts that people just didn't know about you, Aziz.
Already, this is covering new ground. No one's ever asked me about allergies. It's always, oh, so how'd you start doing comedy? Oh, never.
No.
So tell us about your allergies.
Yeah, no, this is all going to be dietary. Like, what'd you have for breakfast? Do you eat a good breakfast every day?
I try to eat pretty healthy. I ate today. I had some oatmeal with some berries and bananas.
No hazelnuts, walnuts.
Nope,
Just berries and bananas.
just berries and bananas.
You made it yourself?
No, well, I made it at the show. I was at Parks and Recreation. Just made it there.
Do they have a trailer there for that? Or maybe it's craft services?
I request an oatmeal trailer. No, there's like they have the craft services and
they got and did you have a choice between like biscuits and gravy? How good is the craft services over there at Parks and Rec?
Well, for breakfast I usually eat either that or I have like peaches and cottage cheese. I eat that. That's pretty healthy.
Holy shit!
Yeah. What else? Do I eat? And cereal and stuff. But we don't have like an omelet truck or anything like that. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Are you an omelet guy though? I mean, in general.
I like I like variety, you know. So it's like in this summer I was shooting this movie in Michigan and they had like the full the truck with like where you could just those trucks are awesome. It's like you can just think they're like, oh, whatever you want, just mention it. Oh, I'll have French toast and 2 eggs with and they'll just make
a
it
slice of prime rib.
Yeah,
they'll
find it. Yeah, and it's so good.
What was that movie?
It's this movie called 30 Minutes or Less, and it's myself and Jesse Eisenberg. And Danny McBride and Nick Swartzen, and it's from the guy that directed Zombieland, Ruben Fleischer.
Oh yeah,
and we shot it this summer. It was really fun.
Yeah, I think that guy McBride's fucking hilarious.
He's so funny. The only bummer was that so me and Jesse are kind of the good guys in the movie, and then Danny and Swartzen are kind of the bad guys. So
right.
Me and McBride's characters like never said anything to each other.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Did you hang out off set though, off camera?
Yeah. You know, I've known him for a little bit, and so we're friends with each other, so we hung out a little bit here and there.
Now, this is going to be an amazing accomplishment for me. I mean, I don't know you that well, but I don't think I've seen you without looking at your cell phone for more than 4 minutes. Now, are you feeling uncomfortable?
Oh man, yeah, I'm pretty bad about that stuff. Yeah, I always look at my phone.
I mean, every time I've seen you, like even at a party. I mean, in Montreal, dude, I saw you, and it's like, how's it going? You're like, good. Right? Just the phone, man. What are you doing on the phone? Are you tweeting?
I'm probably just emailing people, just saying, I'm so alone. Come help me, please.
I'm so alone in this room full of 500 people.
No one's talking to me. I have nothing to say to anybody. People are probably judging me for looking at my phone right now.
No, that would never happen. Now, I didn't realize it. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in South Carolina.
I don't remember where Zach is from. Did you?
He's from North Carolina.
Okay,
yeah.
So you guys didn't know each other.
No, we didn't know each other. There's a few people from South Carolina. You know, Rob Hubel. He's from South Carolina.
And you worked with him, right?
Yeah, we worked together, but in New York, not
right.
in South Carolina. I didn't do any comedy in South Carolina.
Did you know him growing up though?
No. He's a little bit older and lived in a different part of the state. And who else? Stephen Colbert from South Carolina also.
Oh, really?
But I never knew him then.
Now, when you grew up, I see, I don't know anything about your background. I don't think anybody really does, because you don't, I mean, you're obviously you're from an Indian background.
Yes, yeah.
But you don't address it at all.
I don't like shy away from it, but I don't make it a big part of my stand-up or anything. I don't do like a lot of like ethnic, type jokes or anything. I kind of just talk about myself.
Did you have that? Was that a decision you made?
Yeah, I think like pretty early on I was like, I don't want to be a guy that's like doing like Indian voices and stuff like that. It just didn't seem like what I wanted to do. I thought it would be
And you don't have
better.
One.
No, I mean, but I could do the impression, and if I did, I would be selling out stadiums.
Aren't you
right
now?
away.
You're selling out pretty good, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well.
Without the Indian voice.
Without it, yeah.
But you could be selling out stadiums internationally if you did the Indian voice.
Exactly. Wait a couple of months. Like after I finish this tour and after I write another hour, I'm gonna be like, ooh, it might be time to dip into that Indian voice.
Finally, everyone, people around the world are going, Aziz has come back to his roots. Did you grow up with the Indian accent?
No, I mean, I grew up in South Carolina, so I actually had like a really thick, Southern accent growing up. Like when I was a little kid, like I saw a video of me when I was like in like third grade, I was like in a spelling bee.
Yeah.
And like you see this like tiny kid, way smaller than all the other kids, because kids in South Carolina are generally very big, and Indian children are generally small.
Yeah.
And I walk up and they're like, "All right, state your school and what grade you're in." And your name, and then I walk up and I'm like, "My name's Aziz Ansari. I'm in third grade. I'm from Marlboro Academy." And it just looks ridiculous. It's like someone like dubbed it, because it's just like this tiny brown child that sounds like, you know, a 40-year-old guy that works at a gas station in McCall, South Carolina.
That's fucking hilarious. No, but your parents don't speak? Are they first generation or second generation?
They were both born in India. So I was first generation born here, and you know, they have a little bit of an Indian accent.
Were they stunned when you were like, "Hi, y'all. Hey, Mom"?
That must have been so weird. But I mean,
never asked
you know,
they never mentioned
even their accent got a little bit southern.
Oh,
and
really?
So, like, whenever we would see their relatives, like an Indian stuff, they're like, "Oh, your voice sounds all weird," and you know,
that's hilarious.
You know, the same way, like, you know, American people would do a version of Indian accents. Indian people will do like what they think white people like. Oh, it's like, "Oh, you sound like wash." That was always like the white impression. Wash.
Of Indian talk?
Yeah, that's an Indian person in India talking like how they think white people sound, like wash.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I have that too, though. I mean, if I go somewhere long enough, like if I'm in New York for a while, I'll start talking with a little bit of a New York accent.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine what the Indian Southern hybrid sounds like.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, and when I go, if I'm in South Carolina and I talk to someone that has a South Carolina accent, it'll start coming back a little bit.
Yeah, well, I imagine it would. I mean, you grew up there. That's bizarre. So did you have to consciously get rid of that?
You know, as I kind of moved around, I moved to different parts of South Carolina even, and lost it some. And then when I moved to New York, I went to college in New York and was there for like 8 years, and then it was, you know, totally gone. Yeah, I mean, it still comes out in certain words here and there, but it's generally gone.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to NYU.
And how'd you get to know, like, because you did Human Giant?
Yeah.
With, I talked to Sheeran here.
Oh, yeah.
I've talked to Kroll.
Yeah.
And did you guys go to school together?
No, I mean, I was doing comedy, while I was going to college, and then, you know, after I'd been doing it a few years, I started, doing stuff at the UCB Theater.
Right.
And there I met Rob and Paul. And you remember that show Crash Test that I used to do?
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
UCB Theater in New York? I think you did a few times. Like that show, I'd have like different co-hosts. And so like the first time I did it, Rob co-hosted it with me, and then the second time I did it, Sheer co-hosted it with me. And I just got along really well with those guys. And then we started making some short films with this guy Jason Wolner, who's the director.
Yeah.
And then from those short films, MTV kind of gave us the opportunity to do the show. What
did you study in college?
I went to the business school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll, you know, just study business. So it's kind of a, you know, a broad thing. Maybe I can start some sort of business or something like that.
Was there pressure from your family?
No, not really. I mean, you know, they were always pretty supportive. It's like, oh, you know, do what's interesting to you. And you know, NYU had a good business school, and I got in, so I was like, oh, I'll do that. But I had no idea about the culture there. Like, you know, like there's like this whole like, you know, all these finance majors that are like really intense about like, you know, getting jobs at Goldman Sachs or whatever. Like I literally did not know what Goldman Sachs was. Like when I got into the business school, didn't know what Goldman Sachs was.
They're the ones that bankrupted the world.
Yeah, they're all terrible people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just did that, and then you know, I started doing comedy like the summer of my freshman year, and then, you know, I almost transferred to Tisch a couple of times, and then I was too lazy to put together a portfolio. Yeah, I was gonna do like, you know, the film and television program or something like that, and then yeah, around like my sophomore year, I'd been doing comedy for a while, and I was just like, you know, I think like if I push at this, I'll be able to do at least like, you know, make something out of just stand up. Like I didn't ever think about acting or anything at that point, but so I just did a marketing major because it was like really easy. Like marketing is like a super easy major. So I just did that.
Did you have a job inside television? Did you work as an intern or a page or something?
Yeah, I think the summer of my junior year I interned at The Daily Show.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Because I had heard stories that you were running around trying to sell Google ad space.
No, well, I did, I had like a internet business that I started with a friend of mine.
In college?
In college, yeah.
And what was that?
It was this weird thing that we figured out where, okay, so you know when you search, when you search for like, if you search digital camera on
Right.
Google, there's
Yeah.
like these little ads that come up
On the side.
that say like, oh, buy a digital camera, or
Right.
whatever. And so I remember seeing those ads. And then there's also this thing on Amazon where it's called like if you put like on your website, if you put like a link to your CD on Amazon, you can put a little code in there that says, oh, this came from Marc Maron's website, so they'll give you a kickback of
Right.
a certain percentage.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, well, what if you put that program, it's called the Associates program or something, and use it to put it in those Google ads. So when you search digital cameras, it says buy digital camera on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then it has a little code saying, hey, Aziz and this guy are the ones that put that ad, and then Amazon would give you a kickback. And those Google ads, the way it works is like each time someone clicks on it, you pay like a nickel or something like that.
Yeah.
So as long as your kickbacks were, those are your revenues, and then your costs are just the ad space, the ads. And so we just started doing that and
Start selling ad space, basically.
or buying ads rather.
So you would.
I was never like walking around, hey, you want to buy some Google ad space? that job doesn't exist. But we would buy that. So what you would do is you would buy like the keywords. So you'd buy like, digital camera. And
Right.
then that would say, okay, that costs 10 cents a click. So each time someone clicks, when they see your ad, you pay 10
Right.
cents. And then if like one of those people buys a camera, then you get like $3 or $4. And so you just have to, look at it and make sure you're making a profit. And so we just did that with, you just buy a bunch of keywords and do it mass. And so.
And that was your business.
Yeah, I did
You
that
still
for, like,
make money from that?
No, I stopped doing it a long time
But
ago.
you
I did
still-
I did it for a couple of years, like around like junior, senior.
And none of
college.
those ads are up anymore, though. So there's no.
No, it's all long gone. No,
Oh man,
It
did
was
you
just
make
like-
good money?
Yeah, I mean, I made enough. Like, I mean, it was like instead of doing like a summer job, like
Yeah.
I made my money from that.
Oh, see, I got this. I somehow in my mind I thought like you'd put together this internet empire. And it was this big
Everybody's-
secret you had.
No, yeah, that'd be great. It's like, man, Aziz is actually like,
It's like Bill Gates,
a billionaire, and he's doing okay in comedy.
And then I guess I remember when the Spin magazine, wasn't it Spin where they had a picture of you, or Rolling Stone? Rolling Stone, you were picked as the guy, right, for a while? Like one year?
There's they have that hot list or whatever, and they pick someone to be
and what year was that?
I don't know, probably 2006, 2005.
And that's when you really started to take off?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that was that was like a cool thing to get, like kind of a national, like a magazine writing about you,
Yeah, and I guess I always pictured you as a pretty ambitious guy, and when I talk to people, they're like, you definitely were, hitting the pavement with your show in New York, handing out flyers, doing that shit. You really wanted it pretty bad, right? Because I never could hand out flyers.
Oh my God, I mean, I did that when I was like first starting out, like when I think back about it, I'm like, man, how did I do that? Because like, if like I had to start comedy like today, like,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh yeah, you can go pass out flyers in Times Square like on Fridays
Yeah.
and do spots for like 50 tourists, like you can do that. I would be like, no thanks,
Yeah.
thanks at all.
Right.
But I used to do that. I don't know. I mean, I guess like I was talking to someone about it the other day. I guess like the enjoyment I got out of like doing a good set was enough to where I didn't care about passing out flyers for stage time. I mean, I did that for like, this is like the first year I was doing comedy.
What is that, like
so
at Ha? Or which club made you do that?
that was Ha Comedy Club.
Right.
And did you hear, like, that place eventually got crazy where, like, they were making, like, comics, like, clean the toilets and stuff.
No, I know,
Did you-
yeah.
there was, like, was it a New Yorker article or something about it?
I think there was a general piece about
it
coming
just
up
got
in comedy.
nasty. Yeah, and it made it seem like that was the only game in town. It's
Right.
like, no.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I did that for like a couple months, and then I got passed at the comic strip, and once I got past there, I was like, all right, well, I'm passed at a club. A club has said, okay, you can work at this club. So I was like, all right, well, I'm never doing the flyer thing again, and so I never did it.
It's pretty humiliating.
Yeah, it's the worst, and it's weird. Like psychologically, it does kind of like I was talking to someone about this. Like, when you pass out a flyer like that, and then people say no, like you think like, oh, well, I don't care. But psychologically, eventually, it's told that negative energy that comes at you nonstop. Like everyone that passes you hates you.
Yeah.
Like, and no one's like, oh, cool, guy's passing out a flyer, doing his thing, whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's
No,
like,
it's like,
fuck
fuck
this
that.
guy. and then you also feel bad because you know you're sending them to a pretty bad show. Here, come to this show that's probably going to be bad. I mean, I'm going to do my best, and I think you may enjoy me. There's a chance, but I'm pretty sure most of the other guys, you're not going to enjoy it very much at all.
There's 20 other guys in this dump that they're calling a comedy club. So.
Yeah. Hey, is there any way I can trick you to come into this show?
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
is there any way I can trick you? Yeah, they've all been on the Letterman show.
Did you recognize people? Like, did you ever have an experience where you're on stage and you could see the people that you flyer?
Yeah.
And they're disappointed?
Yeah. I mean, I was never really good at that stuff. I was never good at actually converting people to coming. Some guys would like really get into that. It's like, man, I don't know if you should really be focusing on your flyer game so much. What happened to you, man? You know, the comedy didn't work out, but I'm still flying really well. Now I'm doing Broadway shows, just flying them, not performing in them, but I'm
one of the best flyering people in this city.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
God, I can't believe I did that. I mean, that is like the worst. It's like, hey, it's really asking someone, hey, do you want to stand in the worst part of New York and have people hate you for a couple hours?
Yeah,
That's really what it is.
With every time you put your hand out, hate me.
Yeah. Wait, so when you started out, you never did like flyer shows? You just kind of, and what made me stop was like, I got past to the comic strip, but then I also like started finding out about, and this is after I'd been doing it a couple of years, like shows like,
the alternative show.
Yeah, like, Eugene's show, Invite Them Up. That was like, by the time I was like, okay enough to do shows like that, like Luna Lounge had passed, but like Invite Them Up was like when I first started doing that, like that was like the big deal to me.
It's sort of interesting. So you came into it like the mainstream comedy way in New York. Like there was when I didn't have to do that because by the time I was
you're in Boston, right?
No, yeah, I was in Boston for a while, San Francisco, but New York. But by the time I was established, I mean that shit it didn't really exist. I mean Boston comedy, you'd flyer out in front of clubs. So I never did that, but there were guys that did it.
Yeah,
doormen and stuff. But I never did it. But like it seemed that by the time you started, the way you get on stage, if you weren't locking into the alternative rooms in that clique, then it was to do hard to try to audition to the comic strip. Because I would imagine a lot of guys that came up in those alternative rooms, they can't play the strip, or they couldn't play the strip at that time. I mean, that's a pretty mainstream outlet.
Yeah, I mean, that's what was kind of cool about the strip is because they had like this kind of lottery where it's like, if you just show up whenever they have that lottery, you will get a Monday, and then you'll get to do it. Like, you'll get to do it, and yeah, at the time it was Lucian was still there, and and he's
Lucian Hold, he passed away, but he used to run the comedy strip, comic strip. Yeah,
he was a guy that you'd audition for, and then he would pass you or whatever. And so I did that, and that was like, it just seemed really cool that it was like, oh, okay, you can do this, and this guy will watch you and give you a fair shot.
And he passed you.
Yeah, he did, and he was really nice, and, I would just go there and hang out and do the late night spots or whatever, but I didn't really know about that alternative scene. I think it was still kind of coming up, you know?
Right.
But now it seems like there's so many, like, if you start out, you don't have to pass out flyers at all. It seems like there's so many, like, small rooms and bars and stuff
where you can perform for comics.
True, but still, like, but it seems like there's even more that are not
it's big
better,
now. But it's just interesting to me that, because, I mean, the comic strip really is about as mainstream as you can get.
Yeah.
So, like, your idea of what comedy was fairly specifically just being a stand-up. It wasn't like, I'm going to play for like-minded people in small little rooms.
No, I didn't. When I found out, like, about, like, shows like Invite Them Up, it was like, oh, this is amazing. There's, like, people that are more like me, that are younger people, or my age. It's not like bachelorette parties. Or, I remember, like, I used to talk to, like, Todd Barry about it all the time, and he always would make the point of like, oh, definitely do those rooms, but also still do the clubs, so you can kind of, the trick is to play both. And I mean, you were another person I would see at both places.
Yeah.
I remember I used to go to the Comedy Cellar all the time, and I would see like you and Attell and all those guys, and then I would see you at Luna Lounge every now and then, and Tom's another guy. I would see bounce back and forth, Louis, And so that's what I always kind of wanted to do, is be able to bounce back and forth.
But also, like, you're like, a real comic in that you're always, you're very efficient with laughs. You write jokes. You don't waste a lot of time up there. I mean, I think the big difference between starting in an alternative venue and starting in actually, in a paid comedy room is that, you kind of learn the job. Whereas, like, when you start in an alternative room, sometimes people will go on and on and on, and they don't have any real structure or format to it.
Yeah, it might be a little bit too loose to start out with. Like, I think, like, if you start in a comedy club, it might be a little better in that, you they're not really there to see you like fuck around and figure shit out.
Yeah,
they like
exactly.
they paid a lot of money. I
Yeah.
mean, you think about like now I've been doing this tour and like tickets at some of these theaters, like they can be pretty expensive, be like $40-$50. But you think about a comedy club, it's like, okay, $25 cover, 2 drinks, that can be like $60.
2 people spend $100.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
really expensive. So if you're playing at a club, like people are spending a lot of money. They don't want to see some dude fucking around
With
at
his
all.
notebook?
Yeah, it's like,
Hold on, let me see what I got.
Yeah.
So you never did that?
What?
Noodled around up there, wasted people times. Was there always part of your
not
brain?
at a comedy club, but at like
Sure.
that was kind of the vibe. At like somewhere like invite them up. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
almost
yeah.
kind of expected. Like people kind of actually enjoyed seeing that. Kind of seeing the process. a little bit or
Seeing
whatever.
you now, like, because I think that you're sort of like this guy that if you don't know, you're like, who is that guy? And to see you sort of show some vulnerability. I remember the last time I saw you was at Liam McEnany's show in that little teeny place.
Oh yeah.
Bring your friends or whatever.
Yeah,
What's it
yeah.
called? Is that what
Tell
it's
your
called?
friends, yeah,
Tell
yeah.
your friends, because you were trying to put together the material for the new tour.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were just working through shit.
Yeah, I was just doing that the other day. I was like at like it's so funny. Like I was just like on like last Monday, I went and did like 2 open mics in LA because like I want to work on new stuff, and it's like
Where else are you gonna do it?
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter like
Right.
how you can sell a theater out in Milwaukee or whatever,
Right.
but if you want to work on new stuff and you're in LA. You're gonna go do the same open mics that anyone else would do, and it's kind of cool that like no matter what happens, that's what I think is cool about stand up. It's like if whenever I finish this tour I'm doing, I'm just like I'm at zero. I have nothing.
Yeah.
Like when I record that special for the new material, it's like I have nothing, and it's like all right, well I'm at the same spot anyone else is that's doing comedy. I've got to like work my way up and like get those big jokes again because it's all gone. And
So you
it's
think
hard.
that's your work ethic? You're like Louis. You ditch it all.
I mean, that's what that's what I did with the last special I did came out in January.
And that was an hour?
And that was an hour special. And then, I recorded it in July of last year. And then August of last year, I started working on new material. And it's still evolving. Like,
So you haven't done the second hour yet?
I haven't recorded it yet. I mean, the thing that's kind of, since I'm filming like Parks and Recreation and then, I did this movie, I haven't had like enough time to just focus so much on stand-up to get it to the spot like I totally wanted to, but
Yeah.
I got to figure out when I'll record it and stuff. But I'd like to do what Louis does. I mean, because I think otherwise, I think people get bummed out if you go back and you can't come back to like a theater in Chicago and then do a large chunk of the last hour because it's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I saw that last time.
Yeah, people's expectations have certainly changed because there were guys, and I think it was always a liability when I started that, basically did the same hour for like 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean, even if they didn't put it out, like, wouldn't the same people come and be like, hey, he did that the past 4 years?
I wonder if the expectations were different. I mean, I think some people just like seeing jokes that they know
Yeah.
as well, but not like music. I mean, after a certain point, it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people like to tell, they go out and people are yelling jokes that they want to hear.
No, I mean, even from the one special I've done, people yell out stuff, and I talked to Louis about that, and he told me what he does is like he'll come out and do like an encore, and then in that like he would do like a couple of things,
A
and
few
then
things
also,
that they
and
like.
So I started doing that a little bit, and then it would end on some new stuff or whatever.
And that works?
Yeah, that seems to work. And another thing is like kind of doing new jokes about things people know. Like people yell about like my cousin Harris is something I've talked about in my stand-up act, so I'll tell like new stories about my cousin Harris.
And he's a real guy?
Totally real. Yeah. Totally real. Yeah.
I can't remember what was the, because I heard you do one of them. What was the weird thing? Something he posted on his Facebook or something?
Yeah, it's just about, I mean, basically he's just like this really weird kid. He's just like very weird, and he's just kind of chubby, and that was just kind of what fascinates me.
And he remains weird?
He remains very weird.
How old is he?
Now he's like 15 or 16, I think. He always is forever like 14 and chubby in my head, but now he's like 16 and he's hit a growth spurt. I think he's probably skinny now, sadly.
Now, when you started it, like, it seemed to me like I remember some of the criticism you got was that you sort of structured, you got some Hedberg comparisons.
Sure.
And you got, but you had, I think stylistically you seem to be changing a little bit. You found your voice a little more, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think like...
Who influenced you the most, you think?
I don't know.
Did you ever meet Mitch?
I met him like very briefly. Yeah, I mean, I always thought that was kind of strange because like I don't do any one-liners at all. Like maybe like, I think like I think that came mainly from the Invite Them Up CD that I recorded a set on that.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe I'd been listening to, like, a lot of Hedberg, and, like, some of that voice had just been in my head. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't, like, constantly, like, oh, this is perfect. I'll sound like this guy, and everything's gonna work out great. You know, I think I just been, like, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, like,
Yeah.
you know, just, like, about your accent, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd probably just been listening to a lot of that.
That happens,
maybe
yeah,
that
sure.
had
Yeah,
been in
yeah,
there,
yeah.
but, it was never a deliberate thing. And also, it's like, I probably sounded totally different, like, 4 months later. So it's like, just because that's a recorded thing in time, it's like, oh, well, that's there forever. But I probably sounded totally different when I said those jokes a year later, 6 months later. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Well, you have a certain cadence. I think your cadence it sort of started to define itself. And the weird thing is, my buddy Jonathan used to tell me about. He say that like Tom Rhodes and Mitch Hedberg just are doing different speeds of black talk. Like, and I never thought about their cadence as sort of like, well, I don't know if but there is sort of. You know, and I never noticed that. Now, I mean, and I know that you're like a big hip hop fan, and you talk about hanging out with Kanye West. I mean, how much influence does that have on you?
I mean, as far as comedically, like, I don't know. I think I'd say when I started out, my biggest influence was probably Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was like, those two specials came out like when I was in high school and college, and I just knew every word, like, you know, and I still do. I mean,
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a huge influence. And then, like, I honestly, like, as I said, coming up doing comedy, my influences were just like people that I would see at you know, doing comedy. People like, you know, Todd, Eugene, yourself, Louis, Patton, you know, just other guys that I would see do comedy and look up to, because, you know, I think, you know, I never would see Chris Rock live. I saw him a handful of times when he dropped into the cellar, but, like, you know.
It's weird though, isn't it, with him
when
he does a cellar, like he just doesn't turn on any juice at all.
That was like one of the coolest things I ever saw when I first started doing comedy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was like a few months after I started, and he came into the Comedy Cellar, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, like the most person I would be most excited to see in my entire life at that point, you know? And he came in and just bombed. Yeah. Like, just totally tanked. Yeah. And you could just see he couldn't give a shit less. Like, he just didn't care at all. Yeah. And, like, was just trying new stuff and just bombed. And I was like, wow, that is so cool. Like, even, like, this guy who's, like, the best, arguably, is just tanking and doesn't care. So,
well, I think, and that helped you?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's great to see other people fail, much less the person you think is the best. If you see the person you think is the best at something fail at it, like, that's the greatest thing you could see. I mean, seeing anybody fail, seeing anyone else fail is always a great thing.
No, absolutely. And hilarious. Just means you're doing better.
You know how much I want to see Louis fail more often? Oh, it makes me feel bad every time.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait on that one.
How's Louis' new hour? It's way better than the last one. Fuck! How's Louis' new hour? It's terrible. Okay, he's human. Thank you.
Oh, he's very human. But no, but I think Chris does it by design. I think that literally he'll go up there with new material and just see how the material holds together, and if there's laughs without him, because without
him selling it as much.
Right. Well, yeah, because he sells. I mean, you know, when he does a theater or something, and you do that too. You're very, you know, you're intense, you're focused. There's a pace, there's a punch. You know, you don't relent. There's never a moment where I've ever seen you go like, oh, I'm going to soften it up a little bit and take my time here.
Yeah, no, you're right. When he does those club sets, it's definitely
he turns it all off.
Turns all the delivery off.
It's almost weird.
Yeah,
you know, it's soft spoken, and I don't know that. Well, that's interesting. So how the hell do you know? Because are you obsessed with Kanye West?
You know, I'm not. I'm a huge fan of his music, and
you have been for a long time.
Yeah, he's. You know, I'm a big fan of his music, and he just came to a couple of shows, and I think because I talked about him in the special, and I talked about him on Letterman once, and those are just two clips that are online and a lot. People are like, "Whoa, this guy's obsessed with Kanye West."
Do people say that to you?
No,
I mean,
no, but I mean, people ask me about him a lot.
But it just seems to me that, like, you know, when you become as successful as you've become, you know, you start in one place, you know, where you're just a comic and you're running around, you're a kid trying to do comedy and watching people you like, and then all of a sudden you're in this other place where you have access to this whole other world.
No, it's great. I mean,
it must be mind blowing.
It is. That's the thing that I hope people understand about me. Is like anytime I get to experience anything like that, like it's very weird to me. Like, I don't feel like I belong in those situations. Like, I was, you know, talking about this the other day. Someone like, you know, like a few weeks ago, I did this thing at the MTV VMAs, the Video Music Awards, where I was introducing Kanye actually, and And I was just back there hanging around, and like, you know, like Usher's there, and to me that's hilarious. Like me being around Usher, like that should have never happened. Those two people should have never come together.
Yeah.
We should not be anywhere near each other.
Yeah.
But the fact that for some reason I've been able to occasionally get to be in those circles is just really weird and funny to me. Like, I don't like walk around there confident, like, hey, what's up, Usher? Yeah, what's going on, man? Hey, no, I'm like, there's Usher.
Yeah, I better look at my phone.
Yeah. I was just like, Aziz, I'm a big fan. I'm like, sorry, I gotta text somebody.
You haven't been a dick to anybody?
No, I try to be nice to everyone. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I think it's weird because, like, I guess because you know, when somebody, I think people forget that, you know, comedians are socially awkward. And like when I first started seeing you around, I'm like, that guy's cocky. And then when I finally talked to you, it's like, no, he's not. It's just like in his head. I don't even know, you know, because you're a pretty nice guy. You're not an asshole.
No, I try to be very nice to everyone. I'm usually, if I'm on my phone, I'm usually just like,
yeah,
probably just
avoiding.
Like don't have anyone to talk to.
Yeah. Can't deal. Help me out.
Let me text someone that might want to talk to me right now.
Now, if with Parks and Rec, I mean, it seems like, how much freedom do you have in that? Because it seems like you kind of made that character.
You know, they Parks and Rec is really cool because the guys that run that show, Greg Daniels and Mike Schur, are really cool about letting the actors have input into the characters, and like, you know, they'll take little things we do and those will kind of become more defining parts of the character, you know, and I think all the characters have been fleshed out more by our own personalities and stuff. Like, you know, like Ron Swanson, the character that Nick Offerman plays, like Nick is kind of like Ron in some ways. There's some aspects of his personality that are in Ron, like some interesting things like that. Like me with Tom, like, you know, I do know a little bit about hip hop music and stuff. Like I know about that culture of bottle service and stuff, and think that's interesting. And you know, I'm not interesting in like I want to be a part of it, but interesting to, you know,
and now
a character that would do that.
You have been part of it though now.
Not in the way of like, oh, let me go to this club and buy bottle service. More like maybe like I'll be in some small town and they'll be like, hey, you're on TV, let's get you a bottle. And even then I'm like, I don't want to do that.
So you kind of avoid star treatment if possible? You know?
All that stuff makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, yeah, because, you know, I was actually in, like, Philadelphia or something.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd finished a show, and, like, I was at some bar, and they're like, hey, like, we're big fans. Like, we'll give you a bottle of something or whatever. And I was like, oh, sure, whatever. And then some guy walked by, and, like, I guess there's a joke in my special. I don't remember it super well, but it was like, I say something about like douchebags with bottle service. He's like, so look, he's like, look, you got bottle service. I was like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. I guess I can't do that anymore.
Not publicly.
Yeah.
Maybe at home.
Yeah.
So now, what season is in Parks and Recreation?
We're filming season 3 right now. Yeah. And
it's going good?
Yeah, it's been really fun. You know, that I just feel so lucky to be able to work with that cast. Like everyone on there is really good. Amy and Aubrey Plaza and Chris Pratt, Nick Offerman, Rashida, everyone really brings it, and it's just a cool like ensemble cast. We have Rob Lowe and Adam Scott are on there now, and
it's permanent. They're recurring?
Yeah,
really?
they're both permanent. Yeah, and they're both great, and I feel like the show's really hitting a groove now, and the episodes we've been doing I feel like are our best ones.
And who do you think is like the big, like you hosted which one did you host? Video Music Awards?
I hosted the Movie Awards.
And that's a big gig, really. I mean,
that was crazy. Yeah, I mean that was really fun.
And who was your support on that? Did you have a writing crew or what?
Yeah, definitely. I had my friend Jason Wallner, the director. He helped me out with stuff. He directed the videos and stuff with me, and or he directed them. I directed with him, but and helped me write stuff, and then like just, you know, random comics, you know, people, you know, like Chelsea Peretti. Chelsea Peretti came in a lot. She is amazing. She's writing on Parks now, actually.
Right.
She came in a lot. This guy Joe Mandy came in.
I like Joe.
Yeah, he's great.
Funny, man.
Doug Benson. I feel bad, I'm going to leave people out, but those guys, the Birthday Boys, some of those guys came in.
Yeah.
I would just bring in different people and whenever people were around and
try to put shit together.
Yeah, you know, because everyone's so busy. Like, you know, people that are good usually have other stuff going on too. So, you know, I would just would email people and be like, hey, if you're around, if you want to come by and, you know, help. And that's one of those cool things where it's like when I got that, like all my friends were just like, you know, even like guys like Harris Whittles and my friend Alan Yang that write on Parks, like they were working on Parks, but like you know, on a weekend or something, they would come and like, you know, or I would email them scripts and be like, hey, if you have any ideas. And it's just one of those things where it's really cool because like all your friends, like, you know, it looks like it's just, you know, it's just me up there. Like I'm the only person that'll ultimately get credit for that from a lot of people. They just don't think about there being a writing staff. But so many of my friends came and were just like, just anything they could do to like help.
And how'd it go?
It was super fun. I was really happy with it. You know, I mean, it ultimately boils down to you do like a monologue and then a couple of short films and then like a stage bit. And I felt really strong about all the pieces of that and that I did. And it was really fun.
Do you get freaked out at all though? Because like, you know, when I think about my own lack of success in my life, I think it's because I would get freaked out. Like if they said you've got to host that show, I think I'd be like, oh fuck. Really? I mean, what do I got to do? Yeah, like, do you have any of those thoughts, or were you just is your first thought like, fuck yeah?
You know, I just kind of I kind of just think about things like when I got that, my thought process was like, all right, well, these are the pieces I need. You know, I know I can
compartmentalize it.
I knew I could do shorts. Like I know I could come up with funny ideas for shorts. And like right away after I got it, for some reason the idea for one of the shorts that I did was a thing called Stunt Kids.
Yeah.
And I pitched it to Jason and I was like, oh, we should do a thing because we've always been obsessed with stuntmen.
Yeah.
And so like, why don't we do a thing called Stunt Kids about like kid stuntmen? And then that was one of the things we ended up doing. And then like the monologue, like to me, like that's like that's the easiest part because, like, okay, well, I do stand-up all the time. I just got to just really focus and do stuff about movies. I have a couple of months, and then I would just take it out and just, like, start getting it into shape in clubs to where, like, I knew it killed. Like, I did it a bunch, and, like, I knew it killed.
I think that's what you were working on when I saw you, probably.
Yeah.
Right at Tiger Lily and at Tell Your Friends, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably around that time, yeah. I kind of work hard on stuff so where I'm confident and don't get nervous. Like when I went on to do the monologue at the movie awards, like I wasn't nervous because I was like, I've done this, I know it works, I've done these jokes in all different types of rooms, I know this works. If this audience doesn't laugh, it's just, you know, I can't do anything else. But I know this is funny, I know this will work, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's the thing that I read about you, or not read about you, but the one thing I notice about you is that you do have a sort of genuine confidence about it. You don't seem that insecure about shit.
No, yeah, people always ask, like, oh, are you nervous every time? Like, not really, because, like, most of this, you know, unless you're working on, like, totally new stuff, like, you've done the stuff before and know it works, and you're either refining it or just doing stuff you know that works to just, you know, do a good show. So, you know, you have to be somewhat confident based on the history of the prior performances. Yeah.
But did you ever experience that? You don't seem like a very insecure person. I mean, you may not be a sociable person, or you may not feel like you fit in, but you don't seem like you're like, I'm an idiot.
I guess I'm pretty confident most of the time. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess
Your parents did a pretty good job.
I'm probably like definitely more confident in life like right before I go to do stand up because I've done it. I know it. I know these like when I do a tour show. Like I was like, no, I know I did this like the other day and it went really well. So
you just know it
audience,
works.
Yeah, you just know it works. So if it doesn't work today, it's like, all right, well, you know what? Fuck you guys.
No, right, that's good.
I'll send you a DVD from the other show and prove to you that you were wrong.
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing? Like, isn't that like doesn't like Seinfeld and Larry David have like Seinfeld thinks like if you do a show and you do the same jokes for two audiences, and it doesn't work. It's the second time it's your fault, and Larry David thinks it's the audience's fault or something like that.
Sure. You know, if I get a joke that works really well, eventually I just forget about it. Because I thrive on the idea that I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, which is not the greatest entertainment experience for people. Like what you're talking about, when people pay for tickets, they want you, you're professional, they're expecting something that works and that is consistent. Whereas, like, I don't always think about how much people paid, and I find it much more interesting if I flounder through something that's half-baked if the experience is real.
Yeah.
But you know, people don't come back for that.
Hey, I've come back for it. I've seen it.
Yeah. I don't know if
but then again, I'm not paying anything. I'm watching from the back.
You're just sitting at the back of the room. What kind of family did you come from, though? How many siblings do you have?
I have one little brother.
How old is he?
He's 20.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he a good guy?
He is.
You get along with him?
Yeah, I get along with him really well. He's into a lot of the same stuff. He's really into comedy. He's kind of shy. He's not like a type of person that would ever become a performer, but we have a similar sense of humor, and he likes all the kind of comedy you expect, like, you know, me to like.
The good stuff?
The good stuff.
Does he want to be in show business?
I think he wants to be like a writer or something like that, I think.
Have you had him out? Is he going to get him? Is he living out here yet?
No, he's still in school. He goes to school in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He's like the type of guy. He probably wants to like intern at Adult Swim or something like that. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you can help him out?
You know, I just can't. No, of course.
Kid's got to make it on his own. Yeah, I struggled. And what kind of what's the family business? What kind of?
My dad is a doctor. He's a gastroenterologist, and my mom like works at his office.
So you grew up in a doctor's family too. I did too. My dad's my dad's a surgeon.
Yeah.
So it's really good if you don't feel well. You know, when you grow up with a doctor.
Yeah.
Gastroenterologist. That's like your guts.
Your stomach, yeah. If you swallow something or if you have the shits, those kind of things.
That's your dad?
Yeah. Yeah. So anytime I can text my dad, hey, I got the shits. What's up? All right, here's the deal.
Here's what you got to do.
That's what my dad sounds like.
How runny is it? Is there blood in it? Yeah. So, any movies coming up? Outside the one you just shot?
Just that 30 Minutes or Less. That'll come out in August.
Yeah. How's your love life?
You know, it's tough because I'm like not in one place at any time.
That's either tough or
people
perfect.
Don't really, yeah.
Really depends how you look at that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm just traveling a lot, so I'm just hooking up with slutty girls in different towns.
There you go.
No, I'm not. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, it's tough because I'm traveling all the time, so like people don't really. I think girls, any like girls that are like they don't really take you seriously. Like, oh yeah, great, you're gone in like 2 days.
Yeah, except for the ones that are like, great, you're gone in 2 days. Let's get this done. What do you find that because of the MTV and stuff? I mean, who is your audience? I mean, are they mostly people your age? Are they younger? Like, I have to assume you get a lot of kids.
It's mostly like white people in their 20s.
Yeah.
It's mostly that.
You don't go over with black audiences?
Yeah, I do here and there. I feel like I could play to that audience more. I always like it when I see different types of people in the crowd.
You can say it. You like when black people laugh at you.
No, but I mean like older people. Like,
yeah.
I love it when I do a show and I see like some older people there.
Yeah.
Like, cause like then you can like, if there's like an older couple in an audience, like when I'm doing my tour, like I always watch them the whole time to make sure they're laughing at everything.
And it makes you feel like you're really a pro.
Cause one thing I hate that sometimes I've read people say like, oh, he does a lot of pop culture stuff, and it's like not really. Like, if you don't know who R. Kelly is or who Kanye West is, those jokes still work. Like I've had people come up to me and say like, I don't know what Facebook is, but I like that story you tell about your cousin. Like, and it's funny to me because you're just really telling a story about. I mean, if I talk about Facebook, it's not a joke about like Facebook. It's a joke about my cousin and how he's weird, and it just. The story involves that medium because that's what our lives is now. You know, like.
But do you say after they say I don't know what Facebook is? Do you say you're a fucking idiot?
Yeah. Wow, man! I just read an article that said 1 out of 14 people has a Facebook profile. That can't be right, can it?
I think so.
1 out of 14.
Did you see that movie yet?
I did. I thought it was really good. Did you see it?
No, I want to see it. It looks really compelling.
It's really good. I'm glad I saw it.
1 out of 14 people on the planet?
That's what it said.
Out of all people.
That's what it said. I read it a few times because I was like, that's insane. But I mean, it's 500 million people. I mean, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I mean, but my point is like, anytime I do anything about like pop culture or anything like that, like I make sure that if you don't know the thing I'm talking about, it's still entertaining because otherwise your stuff doesn't really age that well.
Yeah, and so you're pretty sensitive to what people say about you. What's some other things that pissed you off? The pop culture thing seems to have gotten you. You seem to have heard the Hedberg thing before.
Yeah, I'd read that before just from the Invite Them Up CD, but I never hear that anymore. I really think that was just at that time. I must have been listening to a lot of his stuff.
It's natural evolution.
Yeah,
people pick their guys.
Yeah. What else? I don't know. What have you read? Anything else?
No. I don't. I only have my own.
I'm sure I have a rebuttal for all of it.
Yeah. No, there's not much. There's not much criticism.
It's always a bummer just to read anything bad about yourself. It's not fun to read people criticizing.
Do you get stuck in that fucking shit? I mean, are you a person that like reads like chat boards and shit about yourself?
No,
I
stopped doing that a while ago because I thought about it like this. Like you take like your favorite thing, like the thing you think is like the perfect thing in comedy. Like, I mean, for me, like, if I Google like Chris Rock, Bring the Pain, there'll be 100 people that say, oh, it's the worst shit. Like, it's terrible. There's nothing funny in it. And so it's like, well, if that's not gonna win that contest, then nothing will. For me,
right.
So it's like, then that just nullifies everything. So you just don't care about anything anymore.
And a lot of times when it's on the computer, you see like, the internet is against me, and you forget sometimes it's just one douchebag. And not only just a douchebag, but a guy who would sit and do that. Who the fuck does that?
Yeah.
Who says, I'm going to comment on this chat board something negative about Chris Rock.
Yeah, what is going on to where you're like, you know what? It's 2010. I'm kind of bored. I'm gonna go shit on Chris Rock's "Bring the Pain." That's a crazy person. I mean, to me, like all that stuff really doesn't matter. Especially like out of all the things I've gotten to do this year, like the tour has really been like the most like cool thing for me to like go to like. Places like smaller places like Milwaukee and stuff, and like have like 4,000 people come out. It's like wow, like that defeats anything negative anyone could say on the internet to me. Like that's awesome that many people enjoyed my special or whatever to like come.
That is pretty amazing.
Like that.
What are the venues you're playing? Like the 2,000 to 5,000 seaters?
Yeah, I usually try to do like a 1,500 or 2,000 seat place and do like 2 shows.
Oh, okay.
For some reason that seems more intimate than like a 4,000 seat
place.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a lot of about that size theater around.
Yeah.
Who do you bring to open for you?
I use a few guys, Hannibal Buress, done a few, John Mulaney.
They've both been on the show.
Yeah, this guy Dan Levy lives in LA.
I know Dan, yeah.
Yeah, Dan, who else? Harris Whittles is doing one with me coming up. But mainly those guys. Dan usually does like the West Coast. Oh, Cal Kinane came out for one.
Uh-huh. And they do what, 20?
Yeah, 25, around that.
And then you do an hour?
Yeah.
Or more?
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually do like an hour and then do like 15 minutes, like a dicking around encore.
Now, have you, in terms of this, seeing as now I know you a little better, and now I know that you're really excited to be to be in show business and to have come to where you've come, have you met people where, you've had a hard time keeping your shit together? I mean, did you ever get to spend time with Chris, given that he was such a big hero of yours?
I haven't got to spend a lot of time with him. I briefly talked to him here and there, but never like a long conversation. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, anyone in comedy like that I've met has been. I haven't ever really talked to Chappelle. I've never talked to him. He's another guy I really look up to, and I've always enjoyed his.
Well, he's out on a farm somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah, but I've never.
But Louis, you sat down with Louis.
Yeah, I mean, Louis was on Parks, and
that's right.
he was on Parks, and he's a guy. He's my favorite guy that's doing stuff right now, and he's really cool. I've definitely like talked to him about like when he was shooting Parks, it was around the time I was like doing recording my special, and I was like, man, I'm like terrified, like all this material's gone, like how do you like keep recording hours? And like he talked to me about that, and like was just like, yeah, I just kind of go out into clubs and just start fresh, and you start off and you have like 10-15 minutes, and then you kind of do a couple more sets, and then it becomes like 20-25, then you go to a couple of clubs like the Punchline and do some more, and then that becomes 45, and then you start touring with that, and then it's like I was like, yeah, whatever.
I'm sorry.
Then that's kind of exactly what you do if you like really just kind of force yourself and go like, all right, well, I want to keep doing stand up, but I'm going to kill all that stuff. It just happens, or But even still, like I'm still like kind of nervous. Like I was, oh man, this tour is about to be over, man. I hope I can come up with some more stuff.
Would you ever think about using writers to generate?
Even on the movie awards, which was a thing about like where it was like okay, it's a TV thing, and it's like all right, well the stand-up's got to be about movies. Like I just couldn't, I ended up mostly just using my own stuff. Like right. There may have been like a tagline here or there, but it was pretty much just. I think for me, like it has to come from me because it's my voice, and it's ultimately me saying the stuff. So, I don't think I could do it. I don't know.
Yeah, so you got a lot of work to do.
I know, it's tough.
All right, Aziz, man, good talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great. I'm glad we did it. I like you better now.
Oh, that's the goal, man. I got to start doing every podcast.
Okay, talk to you later. That's it. That's Aziz Ansari, the comedy megastar. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you listening. I'm happy to do this for you. Please go to WTFpod.com and get yourself a T-shirt. Get on the mailing list. Kick in a few shekels to keep me alive and pumping as I move through life. Also, go to justcoffee.coop, which you can get at WTFpod.com. And if you have not gotten tickets for the Union Hall shows in Brooklyn, December 9th and 10th for my CD taping, I would do that. Go to unionhallny.com and get some tickets for that, December 9th and 10th, live Marc Maron CD taping. That's me talking about me in the third person. That's fucking heinous. Okay, I'll talk to you later.